So today I want to test out the myth to see if you actually leave the car on top of the skateboard and for how long to see if it mellows out the kick. So on the top is what I would consider the perfect mellow skateboard. Mini logo, right? Thank you, Mikey Fullington, Jersey Mike. Perfect board. So both of these boards I'm showing here are 775. Figured out the smaller you go in a board, it starts changing all the dimensions. Everything just naturally gets mellower. So, and I'm good on that. So 775 is the size I'm using now. Makes the truck slower, just kind of keeps everything a little tighter. So on the top, you can see the difference. You can see how steep the board on the bottom is. And I want to say the board on the bottom is a generator board. This is a magenta Soy Pande, my favorite skater. At least for the, past few weeks. Always changes, but he's always up there. So this one, it's steeper than I'd like. I want to measure the kicks too. You can see, if you're ever testing boards too to see how flat they are, you can put them on top of each other. So when this one's mellower, the tips hit the nose on the one below it. So I'd always know if I'm putting it on and I see this gap like this, I would know this one's mellower. I know to pick this one. This one's too steep. If I go the other way, you can see how steep it is. The kicks, So I do want to see and test this out to see if this works. Again, mini logos are perfect. Just was kind of cool to see this, at the shop. I had to pick it out just to kind of, check it out, support soy. One of my favorites. All right, so what I want to do now is to see how close we can get this to the mini logo. So I was watching a tutorial today because I was wondering if anybody actually did it. And I didn't like, the dude was using like calipers and he had them like crooked when he was measuring. I didn't like that. So 18.1, right? And let's zero out. Here we go. And so it's 18.3, 18.1. All right. So that's the mini logo. And that is like perfectly ideal. The mini logo, this board also has a smaller wheelbase. So it's going to ride a little different. I don't have my tape measure. I lost it. But I know I measured this yesterday. I think this came in at like 31.25, this magenta. Never liked generator boards. I had one Soy Pande years ago and it was like a freak of nature and it was super flat and I did like it and it broke in a day. But so it happens, I guess, depending where they're pressed. All right, so we're gonna zero out. There we go. Man, again, my house is super crooked, so I don't know if I'm doing much better than the dude who had the crooked calipers. But so 22.5 should go to 0. Okay, and 21.3. So we're about 3 degrees off. And this one we're almost 4 degrees off. So I want to see if putting this under my car, and the guy I saw, he did it for, I think, 10 minutes. I'm going to try 15. So I'm going to put it on the nose. I'm not as worried about the tail. I'm going to start on the nose and see how that works out. And then we'll come back in 15 minutes and see how many degrees have changed. And there we go. So it's under there. We'll give it 10 minutes and we'll see what happens. All right, and then we're gonna get the tail. So that was 15 minutes. All right, there we go. And there we go. All right, so we'll do that for 10. And we'll see where we're at. All right, so I did 15 minutes on the nose, 10 minutes on the tail. So we're gonna see where we're at. We're zeroed out. I believe 22.5 last time. And that brings it down to 19.6. That's pretty cool. All right, now we're gonna go here, reset it, right? And tail, which was 21 something, is now at 19.2. So under 20, I consider usable for me. I can't believe it worked. I do want to put the mini logo board back on top. I'm gonna do two things here. I'm gonna put mini logo on top. And wow. So it was meeting before and it's not now. The concaves are definitely different. This is pretty wild. We'll do the other way. And I want to just see how it sits. We still are floating because I guess where the kicks are pitched, but man. Yeah, it's mellower kicked. Again, I think the wheelbase is a little longer. And I guess where the fingers are flat or come out further on the mini logo. So it's different, but the actual degrees of the kick, I almost see mellower. That's huge though. That was a big difference because before it was totally floating. One more that I'm gonna do is keep me away from a sail rack full of 775s and a soy Panday part, because I also picked this up. This was also on sale, 775. This one was mellower than this one when I picked them up. So I'm actually curious now, because that is insane. This was not doing this before. So that actually mellowed out the board. Little mind blown emoji here. This is crazy. So it actually, I should have shown these before, but yeah, this brown one was mellower. So wow, so that did it. That was 15 minutes and 10 minutes, and it actually mellowed it out. I'm gonna grip this one up and try and skate it and just see. I'm gonna check out how it is for nollie flips. I'm gonna put my ventures on this one just to keep it the same, and I'll unhook it and go back. Usually the tricks for me anyway, why I prefer a mellower board is my switch flips and nollie flips. I get a better response time. It's quicker. If my board's too steep, I can't do either and I go crazy. So I'm gonna set this up with that, and then once it dries up outside, I'm going to see how I do on them after skating around for a little bit. Again, the mini logos are perfect. You don't even have to go through any of this with them, but you know, just for argument's sake here, I do want to see how this awesome soy Panday board holds up. I have a feeling the mini logo is still going to win, but you know, good versus evil, however you want to look at it. But this definitely did mellow it out a bunch. All right, so we're going to grip this up. We use Jessup grip tape. I figure that's a pretty fair playing field. So here we go. Also note before I get into this, if you can see on the sides, if you're going to do it, avoid any gravel or anything. There's a couple little ding marks in here, so nothing crazy, but if you're going to run over it, just make sure you got full cardboard on there and a smooth driveway. All right. So we're gonna... All right, cool. And then it's, why do you leave the stripe on the side here? And that's so I can tell that that's my tail. Again, that's something we used to do back, I remember even in the 90s, and all the world dudes did it when in the city, so the better city skateboarders doing it. So it stuck with us because we wanted to emulate them, and it kind of makes me remember my youth. All right, so here we go. sure somebody's gonna be upset I did with the truck, but whatever. All right, and then we start. Grip tape done. Alright, cool. Alright, cool. And the board's gripped. We're all set. I don't sand the edges or anything. I never understood that. I know people would sand the top and sand the edges. I never got into that, so there we go. Voila. Put those there. Now, when I put the ventures on, right, let's see if I can do that. All right, cool. So do you see the base plate meets the board? There's no gap, which means that I like the amount of fingers of flat on the board. If the board's super steep, you'll see a huge gap on the base plate there. So the ventures are always a really good indicator of steepness. So this is a positive sign that this actually worked. Again, this has a 14-inch wheelbase, this board. The mini logo, which is already perfect, I believe is 13.8. So I'm not sure if I want to try to give this a fair test to use the Thunders and bring it in. They're similar in height, but I'm very torn right now. Soy rides the Thunders. I might have to full kit the Thunders, but I might just, for argument's sake, just shits and giggles, just keep the ventures on and try this out.
Brush your teeth and comb your hair. I was off for all I had to do. My eyes wide open and it became true.
It's drizzling now. I'm gonna get downpoured on, but I guess to wrap this up, it did work. The board itself doesn't work for me. It's a longer wheelbase, longer nose, longer tail, but I was able to hit it every time. I wasn't ghost popping, even the ones I didn't make. That was like user error, not product error, if that makes any sense. So I was able to hit the nose, just I wasn't used to the board. It felt like a long board, honestly, for me, for what I've been riding. Because there's probably about half an inch difference total on wheelbase, nose, and tail if you add them up compared to what I was skating. So back to the mini logos. Don't fix what isn't broken. But this is a board I would have been totally miserable with before flattening it out. So now I was only kind of miserable with it. So mission accomplished, and it does work. 15 minutes on the nose, 10 minutes on the tail. And the board's not skatable. So if it's a shape you like, but you've got a steeper one out of the stack, run it under there for a little bit, and you should be good to go.